So let's explore you going to really go far off with effects, and I want to see what comes up. And
Are you sure?
I
Because things
am.
could get really weird. But that's the point. That's the fun, you know? No holds barred.
Yeah.
Let's go to the moon, and then we'll end up somewhere far, far farther.
And then we go like halfway to the moon,
You
and
never
just
know.
stay there. Yeah.
So what I want to do is pull in some field recordings just as a starting point, because anything can be a starting point.
It was the ones, because people don't know, but we went in the countryside, and we spent an afternoon just recording noises in the forest. And this is like the stuff we came up with. Jason is going to import them in Ableton, and there's like beautiful moments where we were walking on ice, and you'll see.
First off, I noticed a ton
Low
of
end.
bass, so I'm
Yeah.
going to roll that off with the EQ8.
Kind of like it.
It could be very, very, very useful for some things. In fact, I might actually end up wanting to use that. So let's make a loop real quick. Go ahead and warp it. I really like the repitcher. It has that kind of classic old tape sound to it. Let's see, set one here, and then
I see that you just rolled, you just decided, is it because whenever you open a file like this, are you looking for a specific waveform? Like, is there like a waveform that you are going for?
Basically, I'm basically at this point just starting out completely randomly. Just to see what will happen. I oftentimes challenge myself that. Sometimes I'll have something very specific in mind, like I've listened to a track and I want to try to make something that sounds like a part of a song. So I'll try to find a source that's very specific to that.
Okay.
Let's see here.
I think it was loading, that's why it's acting weird.
All right, so now we have a loop, and it kind of doesn't matter, no matter really where in this case, because we're just being very freeform about it. I want to think of it as almost like jazz or like freestyling in a way. All right, so let me turn this up.
You see that waveform that is really low. This is usually stuff that I'm attracted to whenever I open a file like that.
Gotcha. And we can, I can split this out, duplicate this. Let me go over here and clean this up.
And you slow it down. I saw that you slowed it down completely.
Yeah, I just want to see what that sounds like. Sometimes it sounds like garbage, or it's just not interesting to me, or sometimes it can sound really amazing. One thing I want to do is put a convolution reverb. I'm going to use the Pro that comes with Max for Live.
Go in.
And I'm just going to grab a random one just to get it in there first off. That's good enough. And then
the bathroom.
You've got, now it sounds like we're in a bathroom and somebody is brushing their teeth. Amazing. It's funny because that sound is not taken in a bathroom, and it sounds like it is now.
The concept is bringing the forest to the bathroom.
Yeah. All right. So convolution reverb is one of my favorite tools. Sound design wise, I think everyone should explore it. Explore dropping your own sounds in there.
So you could basically take that and bring it in.
And that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to consolidate this section because I don't want to drop the whole thing in there because it loads this file in RAM. It would just destroy things. And we'll just see what happens. Turn the gain way up. Kind of interesting. It's definitely not like, the original. So
I think this is a really good example for some people that are asking, like, what's texture in sound? Like, I had that question. Like, what do you mean by texture? Like, for them, texture is something visual or something like a piece of fabric. But in audio, we define texture as what you hear right now, which is like kind of like a detailed movement of sound that gives you the impression that I don't even know how to explain it, but it's basically you have the impression that the sound is moving really fast, and it creates this kind of movement with the sound itself that gives the impression that there's a texture.
Yeah, and it's amazing how you can record a field recording from one area and then it can end up sounding like something totally different. Like in this case, it almost sounds like cue balls on a pool table being sort of messed with together. And that's kind of what I love, is discovering new things that, you know, aren't like from the original at all. They're just alien sounds.
So one thing that I can't help but notice is that for some people, they want to work on making their pad less digital, less preset sounding, and from watching you work, it comes down also to layering a second thing next to it and then finding the right level, right?
Yep, I think that the best pads are a lot of different timbres going on at once, and I think, you know, the best sounds, like when I'm making sounds for video games, you know, even like a button click sound can be comprised of 6 or 7 different sounds happening at once. So I want to take this this pad that I just resampled a little bit of, and I'm dragging the sample into the convolution. I made a duplicate of this. And I'm going to put the wet dry 50-50, so we've got this sort of pad tone, but it's being affected off of the input. So it's kind of like its own new drone, if you will. Yeah, it's doing this thing where it's like it's sort of dropping out, and you know, sometimes things just happen and you wonder why, and you know, you can try and troubleshoot and figure out to perfect it, you know, but I oftentimes just like to work with the imperfections. And so what I want to do is I want to modulate the pedal to only kind of give a distortion sound at just a little bit, so it's mostly going to be off, but when it hits these points in time, command and bring it off the grid a little bit. All right, so I want to kind of put another layer in there. I have created this generator. It's a vinyl crackle kind of. The vinyl distortion makes a crackle sound built in, but it sounds kind of gross. I think a little spotted. You can easily spot it in a mix. So I like put a bunch of effects after that to kind of create like my own unique version of it. But it's a good starting point in terms of like. I want to see what my drone. So 2 layers of these together kind of make a nice. I will say I really like the phaser effect. I have to lower it down. Not a problem. Phaser with a pull of 1. I usually take the phase down and make the rate really low. You can get some really nice, subtle. You know, sometimes I'll pull this down even more. Subtle variations of like phasing going on, as you can hear. But I'm hearing some notes really stand out. I want to pull those down for sure. They're kind of dominating everything. we got in here? We can explore this. There's a whole lot of content we made. Ice, metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I swear making field recordings is one of the best things because it gets you out of the studio, gets your head cleared, but yet still lets you feel like you're accomplishing something for the day or for the moment. And I really like that.
That's super nice. I think that itself can be sort of a melodic sequence.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna just try something here. I want to use the pan trick, the tremolo pan.
Can you lower the pan a little bit? Yeah. Thank you.
And I'm gonna put this at, let's try 1/4. Or let me try one. I'm gonna use the arrows actually. And we can kind of get a sort of idea of a beat. I need to boost it because it's definitely like.
It's just it's not loud because the speakers are really low. So if you want, I can turn it up.
It's all good. No, I can hear it.
Okay.
Just fine. Yeah, no problem.
People are sometimes asking what level that you should be at in the studio. The answer to that is, I mean, give you a dB, but it's important to keep it low, not to damage your ears. But at very low volume, you tend to hear better what can be popping in the mix.
Like this pro here. Let's try the bathroom. I just want to see what happens. It may be terrible. We can switch it out. There's always the undo button. So I think the fun thing here is just trying new things, throwing paint against the wall and seeing what kind of nonsense you can come up with. Kind of interesting, I guess. You could also put another pan on the end here. I'm going to make it a sine wave, and I'm going to make it really slow down so that the sound will kind of come in and go away. Firstly, I'm going to save this as the default since I'm using this a lot. So there we go. So now you can hear kind of a rhythm forming, but it's an unusual one because it's obviously made with these weird field recordings. Let's just see what else is in there. Some happy sounds. Just painting happy sounds. Yeah. Oh, interesting.
That's super cool.
Oh, I really feel the bass coming off of this one. I'm going to play with that, but first I want to...
Yeah, it's going really low.
Yeah, and that's because I pitched it down, and sometimes. Yeah. There it is. All right. So what I'm going to do here, because I feel like getting crazy, I want to just take this sound and play it again. And we're going to mess with the low end. Kind of rolling off where let's let it roll off at 20, and then let's. I haven't played with the drum bus yet much, so I want to see.
It sounds really good. I really like it.
Definitely. Maybe we'll just try a little saturated or overdrive.
I like that you always have this approach of pushing things to the max to see what's the limit of things. This is something people tend to go a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
And you want to destroy things, but I see that you do the gung-ho approach, where you're just like pushing things right off the bat.
Yep, there's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, it's, as long as you got that limiter on the end, you can really kind of go nuts and just try whatever. And
that's one of the reasons why I keep the volume down too.
Yeah.
You tend to push things more.
Yeah, I'm a pusher for sure. But I'm used to using headphones also, and so, I certainly too have to be careful. let's try 1/4. Maybe I'll just use the arrows. There we go. Now I'm going to just see what happens if I take this, duplicate it. So this low sound is now going to be some part in here. Sometimes I like to take a lot of really sort of nutty and insane things with EQ8. But to be honest, you know, there should be no rules. Do what you like. I'll put a limiter on the end of this just to have a second. Now, what I'm going to do, let's see, I'll just make this a lot longer now. I didn't really get the thing that I kind of had in my head from the low end of that. Like, I started out thinking maybe I'll get kind of a kick thing, and I ended up somewhere completely different. To be honest, that's fun. That's okay. I can always try and play around with a kick later.
Yeah, we started with the idea of making the digital pad more analog, and then we got carried away with this. But at the same time, which I mean, like, it's totally okay, because the more layers you have, the more subtleties you can add to the pad.
Exactly. And I think that's good, you know. Yeah. Oftentimes when I'm sketching, I start with an idea and I tend to go where I thought I was going to. And it's usually better than where I thought. But and several hours go by, you know, maybe I had a bad day, and I don't feel like I had a bad day anymore after just kind of spending my time in the free-form world of trying out new things. And all right. I hit record on that. Oh, I guess I needed to, wrong track. I was going to try to record my movements here. So now it's actually recording the automation into the clip. So I'm just kind of bringing this sound alive by doing some strange things, because it's really an advanced phasing is what I'm kind of messing around with here. So now if I let go, we've got a creature there. It's basically just, it's alive! Alright, and I want to put that EQ8 in my wet dry preset that I saved earlier. Yeah, so I can get a little, just not, oh, I'm still recording the automation. I'll go ahead and delete that. Maybe I'll turn these down now that I've sat with them for a little bit. I think I just kind of want to hear what. And so as I'm doing this, I'm also thinking of ways of like, yeah, I could turn this into a song. Ultimately, I mean,
if we end up turning this into a song, that's even better.
yeah, and that's, you know, for me, how usually this kind of, I call it sketch exploration. It's basically like I feel like I'm sketching stuff, but I'm also exploring at the same time, and I don't know how many times it ends up turning into actual songs. You know, and if you had a kick drum beat, you would have a decent ambient techno track in some ways. So.